we're very lucky now because we've got a chance to dive in depth for a little longer to something. We've got our diamond sponsor, Agora, who are joining us here at 4 o'clock. We've got Joel Thomas here to lead a workshop. So, Catherine, do we have him ready to bring to the stage? Joel is going to be speaking about how to implement video chat in the Unreal Engine. Now, Joel, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you fine.
Perfect. Great. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Wonderful to have you on board. I'm really grateful for you guys sponsoring the event again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade into the background myself. Now, I think you're going to be playing some video as well. So I think Catherine's on hand to set that up. So, well, over to you. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. So hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Joel from Agora, and I'm here to show you how to implement video chat into the Unreal Engine. And so before we get started, I would like to thank the entire Pocket Gamer Connects team for putting on such a great event and for allowing me to speak here to you about Agora and the Unreal Engine. And for those of you who don't know too much about Agora, Agora is a leading voice, video, and live interactive streaming platform, helping developers deliver rich in-app experiences, including embedded voice and video chat, real-time messaging, interactive live streaming, and real-time messaging. And before we get started, I will be hanging out in the chat, answering any questions along the way, and I'll also be asking polls, and I'll also be on the Discord channel, #PowerTheGamer. So I encourage you all to feel free to chat, ask any questions, anything you need, I'm here for you. And we also have some links for downloads to the Unreal Engine. So you will need to follow along, you will need a working version of the Unreal Engine. I recommend version 4.25. You'll also need a valid Agora account. And I also encourage you to download our Unreal Blueprint SDK from our Agora IO community GitHub. And so those links will be provided. If you don't have those links, that's perfectly okay. I still encourage you to follow along, pick up some Unreal tips and tricks. And this video will be posted at a later time, and you can follow through on your own time and either build this project or your own project using Unreal and Agora. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started, and let's see what we are going to be making.
Hello, devs, and welcome. My name is Joel from Agora. And so welcome to the Agora's Unreal Engine Quick Start webinar, where we will be creating a one-to-one call inside of the third-person template of the Unreal Engine. So before we get started, let's go ahead and make sure we have the Unreal Engine downloaded. So you go to unrealengine.com, go to the top right here, there's a button that says download. We'll click that and we'll go down and do the creator's license. It's free and perfect for the situation at hand. So click select, it'll automatically download the Epic Games launcher. Once you have that installed, open it up, and then we're going to go to library up here, click library, and then go to engine versions, click the plus sign, and it will queue up another engine version to download. So we want 4.23.1, and so go ahead and download it and install that. And then once we have that taken care of, we're going to download the actual Unreal project from GitHub. And so we will go to Agora's community page, and more specifically the Agora Unreal SDK Blueprint. And so this is going to be a full project, including the Agora plugin for the Unreal Quick Start. And so we can go ahead and click clone or download. So you can download a zip folder, which is what I've done for this example, or you can download this project right into your GitHub if you have GitHub for desktop. And so just to give you an example of what that looks like, I've downloaded it here. So it came in as a zip. I double clicked it to open it up, or to decompress it. And I open it up, and then we have the U project right here. And so once 4.23 has been downloaded, I'm going to double click to open this, and then we will be met with a message that says something about missing modules. We're going to go ahead and click yes. Would you like to rebuild them now for Agora Video Call, plugin, Blueprintable? Would you like to rebuild them? Yes, I would. And so that's going to go ahead and get started. Once that runs through its full progress, the project should open, and then we should be good to go. And then one last step here. Let's see here. we want to create a profile on Agora's dev page so that we can plug in our own unique app IDs to inject the Agora SDK into Unreal. So go to agora.io page where you can punch in your information and create a profile with Agora. And that will lastly land you on the Agora's console page, where actually here's what the opening screen looks like. And then we'll create a new project by going to the left sidebar here, go to Project Management, and then we'll click Create. And then we'll just make a new project name here. So we'll say Unreal Quick Start. And then app ID is fine. Just go ahead and leave that like that. Click Submit. It'll create a new project, and then, oh, hello Unreal. And then here is the app ID that we will be needing to punch it in. So if you click this little I here, we can grab the ID and then plug it into Unreal at a later step. I would recommend copy pasting this into like a notes pad or sticky notes or something like that for easy access. But yeah, so that's the main 3 steps. We need to download the Unreal Engine, download the project from GitHub, and then sign up with Agora so that we can all follow along properly. And all right, thank you very much. I would highly recommend you to do this prior to the actual webinar starting. The download times for Unreal can be a bit lengthy at times, and so I just would highly recommend having everything downloaded before we get started. And with that being said, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.
Okay, so we had a brief introduction on following all those different steps. We got Unreal, we got the Agora account, what that looks like, as well as downloading from the GitHub. A quick note on the GitHub, there's actually a link. If you go into the documentation, near the top, there's a link to download the actual plugin itself. That comes in as a zip folder. You decompress that and you put that into your plugins folder for Unreal. So just a quick heads up there. And for those of you, for those of you who are following along live. And also, I've got a quick first question for you all, which is, what is your experience level of using Unreal? And so with that, let's go ahead and get into the next video and hop into the Unreal Engine.
And inside this project, we actually have a video called Level BP, which is another example of one-to-one calling. However, we're going to be building ours from scratch. So the first thing I want to do is click Add New here. Go to Add Feature or Content Pack, and then click Third Person. I want to add some Unreal assets and whatnot to play around with here. So okay, so now we have our Third Person folder, Third Person BP. So we have go into Maps and click on the example map. And so once that loads, now we can see we've got our like Unreal Engine game that we can run around in. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my content folder. I already have a folder here called Blueprints. So I'm going to create, inside of the Blueprints folder, I'm going to create a new folder called, I'm just going to say call demo. So that way we have all of our assets located in one spot. And so first, like I mentioned, I'm going to build that, we're going to build the channel joining widget. So I'm going to right click inside of the folder, go to user interface and click widget blueprint. And then we're going to call it channel joiner BP. Okay, and then open that up. And so now we have the Unreal like widget editor inside of this new tab that we just opened up. And so this is the full extent of the widget as you'd see it on screen. So I'm going to grab some editable text where I can punch in my channel name, and then I'm going to drag in a common button. Like that. I'm going to name my button, just name it like join button, and then we'll name our text channel text. And then inside of our button, we're actually going to drag some more text in. See, it automatically snaps in. So we're going to name this text block. We're just going to say join. Join. There we go. And inside of our channel text, we're going to include some hint text. So we're going to call it channel name so the user will know what to punch in. Bump up the font size once we compile it. There we go. And then we're going to center the text out. So to make this look a little cleaner, I'm going to take my channel text box here. I'm going to set the anchor to centered, zero out position X, position Y. We'll set the size to 400, set the size Y to 100, and then set the alignment to 0.5 and 0.5. So that way it's perfectly in the middle of the screen. And then with our join button, we'll do the same thing. Set our position X to 0, position Y to 0. Set the size to, let's say, 200, and then our size Y to, let's say, 100. And then we're going to 0.5, 0.5 again, and now we're just gonna drag it down just a little bit. Oop, come on. There we go. Okay, so we'll set our position Y to, let's say, 100. Cool. So we've got a button to click, and we've got our text that we can punch in. And so just as one last little like nice polished detail, we're going to add some background blur. And so this is just going to make things look a little nicer. We're going to expand this to the whole screen. We're going to set the blur strength to 80. And then we're going to drag the background blur behind everything else inside the canvas. And there we go. There's our widget. So we'll compile that, saves, everything's working. And then let's go back into our project.
Okay, so with that, we created our channel joiner widget, which is essentially our, our access point into an Agora Unreal Engine channel. Each channel requires a specific string name that you type in, and then you join, and that's how you and other users are able to join each other in the video chat. So we've created the widget, and next we're going to be creating the Agora manager that actually where we initialize and run this functionality. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the next section.
Okay, so now that we have our channel joiner widget class created, we're going to create our Agora manager. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to blueprint class, and then click actor, and then we'll call it Agora manager _ BP. So now we double click that to open it up, and we go to our event graph, and then now we're actually going to do some blueprinting here. So we don't need these nodes, so let's go ahead and delete those. And so a quick word about how Unreal, I guess, visual scripting works. For those of you who have no idea, or this is like completely new to you, it flows from left to right instead of top to bottom like normal code. So for example, if I was going to do a print statement, I drag a pin off from this node here. I type in print, and then we have our print string node. And so yeah, we have we can do hello world. And then when we save and compile this and run, the first thing that happens, like so, the event begin play fires first thing before the scene starts. So once this fires, we will print our hello world statement. So just with a basic primer out of the way. Let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I want to be able to see the mouse when we play the game. That way I can punch in the channel name. So I'm going to do get player controller, and then drag off of this blue pin here and type in set show mouse cursor. And so what this will do is allow us to see our mouse when we start the game. That way it's not lost when we want to click the button or set our channel. So I'm going to check that for true. And then next, we are going to actually create our channel joiner widget. So I'm going to drag another pin off, say create widget. And then inside this purple class dropdown, we can select the class that we created, which is channel joiner. So click that. And then now the actual returned class created, we want to do add to viewport. So now the UI is on the screen. I'm just going to clean this up a bit here. And then, okay, so now that we have our channel joiner created, now we're going to do the actual Agora SDK scripting. So next we want to drag a pin off. We're going to do construct object from class. So we're going to be creating a completely new object. And so we want to do object of type Agora. So this is basically, or this is our Agora engine here. And so we want to, kind of a nifty trick that Unreal does. So instead of just grabbing the return value, I can right click this pin, click promote to variable. And now this will pop in here and I can name this Agora engine. And so now I have a reference to the Agora engine that's automatically set in this node here. Okay, and then for our outer, we just want to get a reference to self here, and then just plug that in. Okay. So now that we have our, let's see, let's compile. Okay, so now that we actually have our engine, we want to initialize. So I'm going to click initialize. Oh, actually, let me back up a second here. So if I type in initialize, you can see that this is functionality from Agora. So let's say if I were to, yeah, go anywhere else. So like here we have like some Unreal functions and variables and everything. But yeah, so this is actually like the Agora specific functionality that you can find. If you want to go search for it, you can, yeah, click this Agora drop down here and then go in and find all these different Agora events. Here's some callbacks, here's some functions. Yeah, so this is just a quick word on how to navigate the Unreal like visual scripting, because it can be, you know, I guess kind of overwhelming if you have no idea where to start. Okay, so we're gonna take the Agora engine, we're going to initialize, click, and so here you must plug in your app ID that you got from your Agora website. So I'm gonna plug in mine, feel free to plug in yours, and make sure not to leave that blank. So, alrighty. So once the Agora engine is initialized, we are going to drag off, and we're going to get our Agora engine and then do enable video. Okay, so with a successful initialization, we will enable our video, and then we will take our Agora engine again and do join channel. Okay. Yeah, so I guess a quick little like heads up, I can get a separate Agora engine getter node here to plug into either one of these, or you can just keep the same one and drag it into multiple. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you feel good about. And so with our channel ID, so we're actually going to grab the channel created, or the channel punched into our channel name here. And so in order to do that, we have to back up to our widget, and we are going to promote our newly created widget to a new variable, and we'll name it, we'll just say channel joiner. Okay, so yeah, here we're actually setting that channel joiner. So actually, okay, let me back all this up here. Okay, so I'm just inserting this node in between. There we go. Okay, now that we've set our channel joiner variable after creating it, we want to set it. So now that we have a reference to it, we want to add it to our viewport, and then we can get the text inside of this channel joiner and plug it into our channel ID. So I'm going to grab a get node, and so just for a quick heads up, I can click and drag this onto my event graph, and I have the choice to either get or set. And so in this case, I want to get, or I can hold command and then click and drag, and it'll automatically create a get node. And so the way to get the set is, for me, I'm using a Mac. I hold Option. I believe on PC it's Alt. I drag open or drag over, and then it creates a setter node. So that's just like a really quick shortcut that will save you a lot of time. I would highly recommend it. So we have our channel joiner. I want to get our channel text, which is our editable text where we are punching in our channel name. And then from there, I want to do get text, which is the actual editable text component. And then here, you can see this is a kind of a light pink node of type return value text, and this is a dark pink node of return value of type string. So Unreal will actually automatically handle the cast from text to string by just dragging this here. It'll automatically convert, and that's what this node is doing here. So it's kind of a nifty thing from Unreal, and definitely cool. So we're going to take advantage of that. And all right, so now we've initialized the engine, we've enabled our video, and now we've joined our channel. And so next we're going to create some callback events for when a local user and a remote user join. And so I'm going to grab another instance or another getter of the, of the Agora engine, get you, and then I'm going to type in assign on join channel success delegate. Click that. Okay. So what this is doing is this right here is creating the callback method, which will then be called inside of this event here every single time a new local user is joined. So I'm just gonna, here this is actually another cool thing. So I'm gonna highlight all the stuff going on right here. I'm gonna press the letter C and it's going to create a comment and I'm just gonna say local join. So now I can know, this is how you comment code inside of Unreal's visual scripting. So now I can actually grab and drag all these nodes as like one unified piece. And so we're not going to do anything yet. We're just going to keep this event here, and I'm going to come back to it later. But we're also going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy this over. We're going to do the same thing. Assign. One moment. Let's see here. It's going to be called assign. Come on. Sorry about the wait. Assign on user joined delegate. And so what this is going to do is fire every time a remote user joins. So we have our local user, our remote user. Anytime that stuff fires, that any functionality plugged into this red event node here will fire. So I'm going to make another comment. I'm going to say remote join. And okay. So for example, if I wanted to do something here, we could make a print statement and say, yeah, like, you know, join channel success. But again, we'll just leave this for now. We're going to compile this and save it. And okay, it looks like we're good to go. So I guess just a quick recap. We have created the widget that allows us to join, to pick our channel name and then to actually join in. We set that. We constructed our Agora engine. We initialized it with our app ID. We enabled our video, joined the channel. And then now once users start to pop in, we can handle that functionality accordingly.
Okay, so we just got the initial Agora implementation out of the way. You'll see this pattern across any platform, whether it's Unity, Unreal, you know, web. We have that pattern of the enable video, join channel. Yeah, it's standard standard Agora setup. And so in our next video, we're going to see, we're actually going to run the Agora, excuse me, we're going to create widgets that will handle the Agora video. So the same way we created a widget to make the UI to join the channel, we're going to create widgets that hold images where we'll actually be piping the Agora video data into the image and use that as our player video screens. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started. And for everybody watching, I encourage you to check out the chat. I'm curious to see what your level of Unreal Engine experience is. And so yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
Now that we've created the bones of our Agora manager, we're going to create those video widgets that pop in whenever a new user, whether they are local or remote, join in. So next, I'm going to create another widget blueprint. So right-click User Interface, go down to Widget Blueprint. We're going to call this, we'll say Agora Video _ BP. Okay. And so yeah, this will come in as a widget. So we want to actually get an image, drag it in, and let's just go ahead and center it out here. So I'm going to set X and Y to 0, set the size. I usually like to set it like 700 by 700. It's pretty big, but I mean, you can set it to whatever you want. It's 0.5 and 0.5 for my alignment. And that should be good to go. So basically, we'll just have a floating image like this, where we will be rendering frame by frame of the Agora video to this image. So I'm just going to go ahead and name this Agora video frame. Go ahead and compile that. And now we have to actually plug in the functionality in our event graph into this widget. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of our pre-construct and our tick. So event construct, basically it's the same thing as event init. But so, yeah, what exactly this is, that whenever a node is read like this, it's called an event, which will fire whenever a certain, whenever it's called or whenever a certain case goes off. So for example, event construct will happen, whenever the widget is constructed. So we're actually going to create a new event. So I'm going to right click, type in custom event. So we can actually generate our own event, and we're going to call this Agora video setup. Okay. And then, all right, so first of all, what exactly do we have to do? So I'm going to do more bind events for whenever a local or remote video frame comes in. So first we need an actual Agora engine variable. So let's go ahead and create a new one, Agora engine, and set that to type Agora. Okay. And so because this is a custom event, we can actually include custom parameters to be plugged into. So this is actually going to be accessed by our Agora manager. So for our inputs, I'm going to create a Agora variable. Agora, okay. And where we can then set our Agora engine at as soon as the event is called. And then I'm also going to create another input. So it's going to be a Boolean that I name isLocal. So we can determine if our video frame, or we can set if our video frame is local or not. And so, okay, so now we have these two things. So now I'm going to grab the Agora engine. I'm going to do assign on local frame receive delegate. Okay. So now we bind our event. So this is going to play multitudes of times. It's gonna happen over and over and over and over again because basically our video is built of individual frames, and this is fired every time a new frame is received. So it's basically it's like imagine it being called every single frame. So what we're going to do is grab the image, our Agora video frame that was here in our designer panel. So we have a reference to it here inside of our variables. It's automatically popped in once we created it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this. So I have a reference to our image, and then I'm going to call set brush from texture. And what that is going to do is turn our Agora video frames into a texture for this image. Okay, and I actually want to have a quick check in the middle of this. So I'm going to drag off here. I'm going to type in if. So in Unreal, it's actually called a branch statement. So you can type in branch if you want to, but you can also just type in if, and it is essentially a if else. If condition is true, do this. If false, do that. So we are going to check if isLocal is true. So I'm actually going to create one more variable. We're going to call it isLocal. Set that to our red Boolean, and then back this up, and then we're going to set isLocal. So now we can just get it really easy and simply. It's not going to be a big hassle. Set isLocal there. Okay. Let me clean this up a bit. Okay. Cool. There we go. Yeah. So generally in Unreal, I guess most people try to keep the white wires like as straight as possible and to not like cross them. It's just like a cleanliness thing. I mean, you can kind of get OCD about it. I try not to get too crazy, but one quick like a cool shortcut is if you double click on the wire, you create what is known as a reroute node, which is basically just like a little blank pin that you can like drag, and you can send your wires like all over which way to make things like just to kind of change the visuals of it. So now things can look just a little cleaner. Just fun tips along the way. Okay, so we have our local frame received. If isLocal is equal to true, then I want to set my brush from texture. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the remote. And so I'm going to do, let's see, 1 second. Okay, I'm going to drag off here and call this assign on remote frame receive delegate. Okay, so we're going to bind our event. And now this event will be called whenever is local. Grab that. Let me get closer here. So we get our if statement. If is local is equal to false, then I want to set brush from texture. Drag it over. If local is false, okay. And then plug this frame into that texture. And so again, just to kind of, just for the sake of cleaning things up, let's go ahead and do that. Drag this down over here like that. Put you over there. Pull this down, and there we go. You know, now things just look a little better. Okay, so we're going to compile. Everything works. So let me work backwards here. So again, so on remote frame received. So remote is local is false. Set our brush from texture. On local frame received is local is true. Set our brush from texture. Okay, so we are good to go here. We compile. We save. Now, before you, quick note about the widget class. You can't just go and drop in a widget just into world space willy-nilly. So we're actually going to create another blueprint class. We'll make an actor, and we're going to call it Agora Video Holder BP. And so this is basically just going to be like an empty transform that we can just drag into the world, nice and easy. And I'm going to go in here. So I'm going to do add component, and so I'm going to add a widget to it, and we'll set this to our, we'll call it Agora Video, and then now we have to go over into our details panel, into our widget class right here, and then click here, and we're going to call this Agora Video BP, and so now that big image that we created over here in visual part, there we go, over here, is now showing up right here. And so as you can see also, this is clipping, this is like an example of the floor plane. So we are halfway clipping through the floor. And so I'm just gonna drag up my Agora Video just until it rests on the floor like that. So my location is 250 in the Z space of my transform. So click compile. We don't need to do anything else, add any code to this. We just want to spawn it in and then let our Agora Video blueprint handle all the code.
Okay, so with that, we created our Agora widgets as well as the widget holders. And next, we will be spawning those widget holders into the scene using the callbacks that I had left empty in the previous video. And so with that, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, so now that we've squared away our Agora Video holder and the Agora Video widget, we are going to spawn in the Agora Video holder into the scene using our Agora Manager. And so before we hop in there, I'm going to create an empty actor, just drag it in here. I'm going to rename it to, say, spawn point 1. And then I'm going to hold Option on the mouse. With PC, it's Alt, I believe. And then drag, and then just create a new one. And it's actually going to automatically rename it as well. So we have spawn point 1 and spawn point 2. And so I'm actually going as well. You want to swivel these around 180 degrees because for whatever reason they just your video will point in backwards. So yeah, just gonna make sure that that's squared away. Okay, so we've got our 2 spawn points. We got local and remote. Let's go back to our Agora Manager, and we will create 2 variables: spawn 1, and spawn 2. And so these are going to be of type actor. So if they don't come in with like that blue sphere, just search actor. Here it is, object reference, and you're good to go. I'm also going to make these public, so I'm going to click on the closed eye here to make it open, which then exposes these variables to the editor. So I'll give you an example here. So we have spawn 1 and spawn 2. 1 is public, 2 is not. I'm going to compile. We go back to our Agora Manager. spawn 1 you can see, and there is no spawn 2 visible yet because we need to make it public. Okay, let's make them both public. There we go. And I'm actually going to pick actor from scene. So you got this cool, neat eyedropper here, and you just go and click on the items or the actors that you want, and they are now effectively assigned in editor. Okay, so now we have to actually spawn. So I'm going to drag off of here and create spawn actor from class. There we go, it's in. Okay, and so this is going to be of type Agora video holder. Okay, and the spawn transform is going to be the transform of our spawn point. Spawn 1, get actor transform. There we go. And then just drag that in there like that. And okay, so we will now spawn in the actor. And then I want to, so just spawning it in isn't going to be enough, because in our Agora video, we have this custom event that we set up called Agora Video Setup. This will not fire on begin play. And so we have to specifically access this and call this from inside the manager. So once we take our spawned actor, we're going to, so this is the video holder, so we need to reference our Agora video. Here it is. So we want to get our Agora video, and from there we get user widget object. So this allows us to basically access the quote-unquote component, the widget component, which otherwise would give us a headache if we didn't do this. So so we have the user widget object, and then now we can call that function. So or event rather. So let's Agora. Oh, okay. First we have to cast it. That's right. So this is essentially checking if this user widget object is equal to the type that we want. So is this widget an Agora Video BP? If true, do something. If failed, do something else. So now we have the actual Agora Video BP component, and so now we're going to call the function Agora Video Setup. So Agora Video, there it is, Agora Video Setup. And yep, on successful cast, do that. Now we have to just punch in a reference to Agora. So I'm going to grab my Agora engine, plug it in here, and set isLocal to true because we are inside of our local join event. Okay, and now we basically just do the same thing for our remote join. So we're going to spawn actor from class. Class is Agora Video Holder BP. Okay, spawn transform. We'll get spawn 2. Get actor transform. Yoke. Plug that in like that. File. All right, we're all good to go. So we're going to get Agora Video. Video. Not sure why it's down there like that. Whatever. Get user widget object. Cast to Agora Video. And then we want to set up Agora. Yep, Agora Video Setup. Okay. Okay. Sure the wires are good. So isLocal is now set to false, and we'll just plug in our Agora engine like so. And okay, compile, everything's good. So we now have our events completed. So let's hop in here, save all, save selected, okay. And we should be good to go.
Okay, so we are coming up on the home stretch here. This is the last video. In this video, I'll be walking you through the build process for a Mac. If you're following along on a PC, I'd encourage you to test in editor. And we just have a few last steps to tie up, and then we will be making our build and testing.
Okay, so before we package our project and test it out, we have just a couple more steps to go through. So I'm going to hop into my Agora manager here. So as you can see, in event begin play, we are creating our widget, the channel joiner, and then constructing Agora all in one shot. So we actually don't have anywhere in the code so far as to actually remove the channel joiner widget. So when you press the button, it's just going to stay on screen. So what I want to do is remove this sequence of functionality. I want to keep this this link here, everything regarding the channel joiner widget. I want to spawn that on begin play. However, I want to do the initialization of Agora and subscribe to the callback events when I press the join channel button. And so I'm actually going to create a custom event here. We're going to call this join Agora channel and look it up. So again, on event begin play, we'll be creating the widget that then provides the button to then press and join the Agora channel. So compile that. We're going to hop into our channel joiner. Okay, let me get rid of that here. So a neat thing about Unreal is I can actually, so in the designer view, so that's like the visual editor, I can click the join button. I can scroll down inside the details panel, scroll down to events, and there's a couple buttons between some pre-prescribed events that we can access. So I'm going to click the plus for onClicked, and it's going to automatically create a new event for that join button inside of my event graph. And so once we press that join button, I want to get the Agora manager. So we're going to do get actor of class, and then set my searched for actor of Agora manager. And then now that we have that actual manager, we're going to call the join Agora channel event. So now when I press my my actual button, it's going to do all the Agora setup. And on top of that, we also want to remove the widget now that we're pretty much done with it after setting our channel and joining it. So I'm just going to create an extra node here and say remove all widgets. So it's just going to pop in like that. And okay, so we are good to go with the manager. And now actually one last thing I want to do is, so we have initialize here, we construct the engine, we enable the video. If we don't do this, the video feed won't play. We have to join the channel. But then we're also missing something here. I want to get an instance of the Agora engine and then do, what is it? Oh, okay, set local video, let's see, mute, I believe it's mute local video. Yeah, there we go, mute local video stream. And so we want to set that to false. So just leave that unchecked. So what this will do is when we test it, say with the Agora like one-to-one web caller, we can actually see the video feed coming from the Unreal Engine. So there we go. That's good to go. I'm going to compile. Everything's set. One final thing before we package this project, we want to assign this third-person map as our default map in the build that we create. So to do that, we're going to go to Settings, go to Project Settings. On the left-hand side, go to Maps and Modes. And then our default levels might say video call level BP. Let's switch that to third-person example map, which is the map that we downloaded into our content in the very beginning of this demo. And you can go ahead and leave the default game mode and the game instance class. Those are good to go. And then go ahead and close out of this. And now let's package this thing up. We're going to click Save All just to be safe. And then now we are going to go through the steps of actually compiling and packaging the project. So inside of the third-person example map, you can find package project. For me, I'm using a Mac. And so just to give you a heads up, if you're inside like one of the blueprints, you would not be able to find that functionality. You have to be inside the actual like level editor view here. So I'm going to click File, Package Project, select Mac, and then I'm just going to create a new build. So I created a folder inside of my Agora like file tree. So I'll just give you an example here. We have the Agora Quick Start Blueprints Approach, and I created this builds folder that's empty. So I'm going to click Open, and it's going to build my project for Mac. So now it is the moment of truth. And just a quick heads up on this. Currently, we are not able to just click play and test the Agora functionality in the editor, we have to make a new build to test any changes with Agora. That's something that we are working on and we'll hopefully have a fix for soon. But however, right now you can only see the Agora video playback in a standalone build itself. Okay, packaging is complete, and now I will go to that location. So I'm going to pull up, jump in here, go to builds, Mac no editor, and this is the last and most crucial and most easily overlooked step. You have to, if you're on Mac, right-click on the actual app itself, on the app file, go to Show Package Contents, jump into Contents here, and then the info.plist file. We're going to open that up, and then we have to add 2 new items here, one for enabling microphone and one for camera permissions. So I'm going to type in privacy-microphone, and then it'll auto-populate for me like that. Click the plus again, do privacy-camera. There we go, and I'm just going to add in like a description here. I just do cam and mic, and then save the plist file, close it out. Okay, one final step before we run the demo. I'm going to go into my plugins folder, source, third party, Agora, Mac, and then copy the Agora rtckit.framework folder. Then navigate back to my build, like so. From inside the build, click Show Package Contents, and paste the copied folder into the Mac OS folder, just like that. And now we are good to go. Hop in here, double click. We're going to open up our newly created standalone app. So microphone permission. I'm going to set my channel name to Joel. It's a great name. Hello, there's the Unreal Mannequin. Set the cam permission to true. And there we go, boom! Okay, so now we have our local video inside of Agora. It's important to note that maybe if you don't see it immediately, it could be that your screen is flipped around. So make sure that you just double check that before you assume it's not working. And last, I'm going to test here. I'm going to join in with a new player. And here comes the other one. And okay. All right, everybody. So thank you for, I'm going to mute that. Thank you for checking this out. I appreciate you taking the time. I hope that you learned something from this. Thank you very much. I'm Joel from Agora, and I will see you next time. All right, everybody. That is the extent of the tutorial. Yeah, again, thank you for watching. I hope that this was helpful. If you would like to reach me, you can actually find me on Slack. At Agora, we have a dev support channel called agoraiodev.slack.com. And I will be, I run the Unreal Help Me channel. So if you have any Unreal questions or Agora questions, feel free to reach out. Yeah, I provide, support around the clock. And again, thank you to the Pocket Gamer Connects team. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I hope that this was helpful.
Thanks, Joel. That's great. Really in depth there. I'm going to give you a little round of applause. You can't hear the audience because of the nature of the virtual presentation. We've got a few minutes there actually, so I just wanted to, if you don't mind, just ask a couple of questions myself. And again, yeah, if anyone watching does want to drop any questions in, they can do that. I might also, Joel, ask you to revisit the ones that you answered during the talk, just so the whole audience or anyone who joined late might get a chance. But first of all, I just wanted to say you went into a lot of depth there. There was a lot of information to take in on screen. As you know, we're recording all the talks from Pocket Gamer Connects as well. But are your video walkthroughs available online as well? Can someone go and find them somewhere?
Yes. So we have this webinar where on our Agora YouTube channel. So they can find this and they can run through and get all the information at the speed that they need.
That's great. So they can follow up. Perfect. So on that note, let's just revisit the questions that while you were talking, we had a couple of questions there in the crowd there from Steve and also from an anonymous viewer. You answered live, so it was great. You could actually do that while people were questioning you. But for the benefit of those who weren't there, maybe we can just answer those like now as well. Revisit those so that anyone who joined can hear them as well. So Steve asked, what was the best place to start for someone with zero experience of Unreal? And you answered him briefly there, but what would you say to that?
Right. So Unreal has a lot of very solid like quick start tutorials on how to things like with the player controller, like player controls, basic interactions. We also have tutorial like this tutorial, for example, it's designed for zero experience. So if you were to go onto our GitHub and download the sample project, we would have the project and all the steps required as if you were a user with zero experience at all. So every single detail is listed out for you. And if you have more experience, you can jump ahead, that's fine. But if you are just starting, it's the quick starts are tuned for that user.
That's great, thank you. And Steve, I hope that answered your question and anyone else who's joined since. And there was another question from an anonymous person in the audience, which was, what's the minimum hardware spec you would suggest for developing here? What was your answer to that?
Right, so I don't have an exact number. However, yeah, the Unreal Engine is generally regarded as like kind of a program similar to something like Maya, like a heavier development tool. It's generally like long build times, like long load times. It requires above average level of hardware. And so, yeah, for me, I would recommend anything that's related to gaming. It doesn't necessarily need to have like that title. There can be some extra features there that aren't necessary. But it definitely, I would not recommend trying on like a sort of basic like laptop, for example. Like that'll you'll run into a lot of problems, and like the amount of time taken, you might be frustrating. Yeah, but
Sure.
if that's all you have, I say go for it. But yeah, just a recommendation. I would say stick to the gaming kind of sector of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess if you're absolutely right. You don't need a lightweight laptop, but if you've got a computer capable of running games, capable of running Unreal, then there should be no trouble getting to grips with the Agora software, right? Now, actually, I can tell you what, we've got a couple of minutes before our next guest joins us. So if you've got a second there, Joel, actually, I thought of a couple of questions I'd just like to ask you myself, actually, if that's all right. The workshop was great, and it gives an informative way to get started using the Agora tools. But I'm just wondering, are you able to give us an example of it being out there in the wild? I don't know whether you're behind any NDAs or anything, but it'd be great if you could mention a couple of like live case studies. Where might we see this happening right now?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. So some examples we have are Bunch and Communix. They aren't specifically created with Unreal. However, those are some really solid use cases that are actually shown here at Pocket Gamer. Regarding Unreal specifically, I honestly don't entirely know if I'm allowed to say that we have them. Yeah, but we do have some cool customers that we are actually currently supporting. Yeah, I wish I could tell you more. I'm trying to think of like, yeah. So we do have customers that are using Unreal, and actually we should be able to announce something very soon. So I would recommend to check out Agora's Twitter feed, as well as the Agora YouTube channel, because we will post, we'll post the announcements like when they actually go live as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And also just a quick word, the Agora Unreal SDK is actually currently in beta, and we are looking to launch in late September. Yeah,
right.
So,
okay. So we're kind of nearly there. We're at a really crucial time for that. So if people want to get involved and find out more, are you sticking around to be contactable through the Meet to Match platform or on our Discord server? What's the best way for someone who's been watching this to grab hold of you and find out a little bit more about your plans for the rest of the month?
Sure. So I'm on the Discord server. I'm on the hashtag, specifically looking right now at the Power of the Gamer channel. And yeah, Meet to Match is good too. Both are solid ways to contact me.
That's great. Yes, of course, the Power of the Gamer channel on Discord. That's the perfect place. Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, look, thank you very much for your time there. We've got I don't think there are any more questions coming in, but you've kind of done a very thorough job there of walking people through there. We've found out where we can go next to find more information and how to contact you. So, Joel, I'm going to thank you very much for being part of it and bringing that. Our Diamond sponsors, of course, as well. We're very grateful, but also just it's great to have the time, I think, to dive into to a tool and see it in process. So, Joel, thank you very much. Hopefully, we'll have you back at the next one as well. And folks, do keep an eye out for Joel in the meeting platform. So, thank you very much indeed. And
thank you.
take care.